Hoppers, my sweet children, welcome to another trading week here at Mission FX. I'm going to get right into it. This is what I'm looking for this week. AUD CHF, I got long right here at the zone last week. I bought because price was at a support level and price got hedged underneath this zone. I think I hedged a little bit further up, but essentially I bought and then it broke and then I got hedged and I'm going to hedge right now. What am I waiting for? I'm just waiting to see if price can pop back up to this zone. If that happens, I will liquidate my buy around break even or a small loss, and I'll probably add another sell as well as holding on to the original sell hedge to look for a bounce here. And if we bounce, cool, it'll be a nice profit. If it does not bounce and goes back up, this position will have been closed. I will re-hedge the sell again. This will just be a little bit bigger floating loss. And then that will be that, my friends. So that is what I'm looking for this week on AUD CHF. CAD CHF, on the contrary, as of this moment, I am currently net long. Why am I net long? Well, let me show you, kids. It's very simple. I bought right here as price came into this zone. We did not get a bounce on the break of this zone. I hedged, entered a sell. Just now, the Mission FX Close Friends group, I've called it closure at the sell right down here deep in this zone. A nice and sexy little closure here a little bit after market open. So I made a couple $1,000 profit on that, and I have added another buy. I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's right here down at this zone. What I'm kind of waiting for is price to get about halfway through here. If we start finding any pressure at all, I will probably liquidate both of these positions at a net break even right here. The first one I'll be closing at a loss. Second buy I'll be closing at a profit. That'll result in about a break even on those. And I will have made profit on the sell, meaning I would have got this trade completely wrong, but still came out in profit. That's why I love my system. It's super, super simple. So short on USD Canadian dollar. This was a pretty simple one. We sold here at this zone on, when was this, Thursday, Friday or something like that. I think it might have been Friday. Sold here at this zone. Price ended up, it's going into profit right now. So this is pretty simple. I had a plan to add again up here another sell position. And I also had an invalidation just past that for both positions. It's going to profit now. Where are potential targets at? I'm going to be waiting probably for these previous lows, and I might liquidate a little bit right here if we start bouncing. I'll just wait and see what price does if it gets there. But for the time being, I'm looking to close the final positions here if we get all the way down here really quick with a lot of momentum. And then I'll also be looking to enter a buy down there. Euro Canadian dollar, we are net short here at Mission FX. If we go to the daily, the 4-hour, the weekly, it's testing a support resistance zone. Some people drew the zone like this and they're thinking this is going to be a break and retest and price is going to go up. That could happen. Price could just come and test this area and start to bounce up. However, y'all know I keep it plain and simple, literally nothing stupid and insane and crazy. If I think it's just rejecting a resistance zone, I'm not going to be swapping my bias super quick, flipping back and forth over and over. I do not draw little tiny zones like this. They're way more of a pain in the ass than they're worth, in my opinion. So I just don't use them. I use the major, thick, juicy zones. And when I say thick, I mean thick with 2 C's. Thick, brothers and sisters. GBP AUD, I am net short right here. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be going down because we did have a closure nice and strong here into the zone on Friday. For the time being, I remain net short. I'm going to also look to add another short position if we can push up a little bit further here. If we break past that zone, then I'll have to get hedged here. I'll probably liquidate the second position at a small loss and just hedge the other position. Hedge the first one. But if we push up a little bit deeper, I'm looking to add here. It just looks like a nice zone. Anything could happen. This could go up or it could go down. Ultimately, price is just going to do whatever it's going to do, and I'm just going to make a profit regardless of which way it goes because I just use hedging and scaling in. So it is what it is. AUD New Zealand dollar, I have no clue what's going to happen. If you held a gun to my head, I would say maybe down. I'm going to click through a lot of these pairs because I don't really have any new analysis. All of these I shared in the free Telegram channel last week. CHF JPY ended up going up. I called a closure right here. This past week, we were long somewhere up in here. I think it was like up in here. And price came back into this area. I think I closed at like a break even or a small loss or something when price came back down into here. I thought price was just going to end up like coming back down. I was completely wrong. It went and made the higher high like we thought it would. Would have been a nicely profitable trade, but instead resulted in a break even or a small loss or something like that last week. I think it was like a $200 loss technically, so pretty much break even for me. AUD JPY, I remain waiting for this support level down here. If price can get into this support level, I will be looking to buy. Be a sexy trade. AUD USD, I'm not convinced she's going to bounce here at this zone, so I'm going to take off this little thing here because we've got some candles doing some really shady looking stuff. What I'll be waiting for is one of these two zones. Either one of them could bounce. These are the ones I'll be waiting for. Y'all saw me like get all this set up. Literally, look how quick it takes me. It takes me like, what, 10, 15 seconds? And if I'm not talking, it's even quicker. Let's go to AUD CAD. I'll just do my thing and you guys can count how long it takes me to do this. All right, I'm done. So what do I think is going to happen? Just a potential bounce here of this support zone. We've already actually come into this zone. I think it'll bounce. How long did it take me to kind of mark this up and get the chart cleaned up, to get the alert set? It's like, feel what, 15, 20 seconds? I don't know. Like barely any time. Trading is not complicated. If you're doing it, if you're spending more than 30 seconds staring at a chart, this is just my opinion, not financial advice. I think you're doing way too much. If it takes you like 5 minutes to analyze a pair, and go and read a bunch of news and economics and draw all this bullshit on your charts, I think you're just doing way too much. I don't know. Like you can get the same results, if not better, doing less. So why not just barely do anything and have a life? New Zealand dollar CHF ended up breaking below the zone as expected. I'm waiting on this to happen. Touch of the support zone followed by a bounce and an invalidation just under it in case it breaks. So something like that. I use invalidation interchangeably with the word stop loss. However, I don't actually use hard stop losses. I just use invalidation zones, and that's how I'll calculate my lot sizes. All this is covered in the Mission FX Close Friends group, the compounding course, everything. Euro GBP, I think it's going to go up, but there's no zones, so I'm just going to stay away. NZD USD, I think this is going to be going up. It's hard to say, though, because we do have lower highs setting down in here. So it's kind of hard to tell. For now, I'll be waiting for a deeper test here into the zone. The zone looks like something like this. I'll be waiting. GBP, JPY, I have no clue. We took a buy and it bounced and we got out in a nice profit. I don't know if I'm going to get into another buy though, because this looks kind of like it's like failing to go up right here and making a lower high. I think it might do something like that and then just break below. If we get back down here again to 156, I'll be looking to buy again. Be a sexy buy. I'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit too. Not going to be using that. Not going to be using that. Not going to be using that. I'll just be waiting. CAD JPY, I'm waiting for it to get, she missed that zone barely. I'm waiting for her to get down here into this support level. Then I'll probably look to buy. Unless we have some sort of crazy like spike down, huge momentum, then I'll probably avoid it. If not, I'll look to buy. GBP New Zealand dollar, I was going to look to sell this. We got a nice sell on this first test of the zone. We sold the hell. Like our entry was literally perfect. If you scroll back 2 weeks ago on the Telegram channel, like I called the entry right there at the tip top. It was so nice. I barely ever get entries like that work out that well. But this one happened. We got real lucky on it. It worked out really nicely. I'm not going to be selling again. I think that since price continues to put in higher lows, I think the momentum is going to carry through the zone. Then if we pull back and retest, I'll look to buy. If not, I'll look to sell at one of these zones as price continues up, depending on what the momentum looks like. I'll probably honestly just sell at both, because even if I'm wrong initially, it doesn't even really matter, because I'll just scale in at the next zone and eventually it'll bounce somewhere and I'll make a profit. So it is what it is. Euro AUD, we failed to bounce at this zone. For whatever reason, I didn't take this trade last week. I think I might have already been in a couple euro pairs on the day that was setting up. But for whatever reason, I didn't take it. It actually looks like an amazing sell right now. However, I'm already exposed to the AUD on AUD-CHF and GBP-AUD. On top of that, Euro AUD and GBP-AUD tend to move very similarly. So if I'm wrong on Euro AUD, GBP-AUD is also probably going to be wrong. And if I'm also wrong on all those pairs, AUD-CHF will probably go the other way as well. I don't want to be overexposed. GBP-AUD is good enough for me. I'm already short there. Euro AUD is essentially the same setup. So I don't, if a setup looks the same on like two charts, I like a sell at resistance there. That's GBP-AUD and a sell at resistance here, Euro AUD. I typically don't try to like take 2 or 3 or 4 of the same exact trades. I'll just leave it alone and skip it so as to not get myself overexposed. USD-CHF, honestly, I don't really see anything here. First I had this zone drawn. It's not that clear to me anymore. I'm going to set my alert right there at that previous low there at the bottom. That is just what I will wait for. This is a weekly chart. I know this is a long time frame. We'll go to the lower time frames and see if there's anything. The price could find some support like somewhere in here. Maybe like temporarily. I'll go ahead and set alert just to see what it does. I personally think it's going to break this zone. We failed to break past this last one a couple times. Really struggled hard here. Couldn't get past it, so I just think it's more likely to break below it. Break and retest will be nice for sells. GBP CAD, a sell at the extreme resistance. This one's pretty simple. Or a buy here at support. Either setup could happen. So we'll just wait for one of them to set up. We'll just wait for the setup to set up. So that's that. Gold, XAU USD. This is a good one here. So it's not a good one. No, I'm waiting for one of these zones. This thing's been moving around like so slow these past few weeks, from my opinion, with the exception of this day right here. USD JPY, it bounced at the resistance zone. I don't remember if I was in a trade on this or not. Maybe I was. I can't remember if I was in this specific one. I think I actually missed it. Yeah, I think this was the one that I actually, yeah, because when I first had this alert, it was like right there, and it like barely missed the alert. Yeah, I had it right there at that tip top bar. That's one thing you sacrifice for trying to get really good entries. If you're trying to get really good entries, you have to just accept that sometimes price isn't going to come all the way to your good entry. So you have to either choose to FOMO in or just skip the trade. Me, I'm not a little BITCH, so I just skip the trade. I'm not going to like let the market dictate where I enter and have worse risk and less potential for profit. I don't even play that game. It's a stupid game to play. And if it doesn't take you 7 years of your own personal experience learning, then just take it from me that it's a stupid game to play. If risk reward is not viable, if your entry is not going to be good enough, if you're not going to be able to plan the trade appropriately, if your risk tolerance is not appropriate for that specific trade and your invalidation has to be huge or your stop loss area has to be huge relative to the likely potential for profit, skip the damn trade. Holy shit. Do you really want to play that game with yourself? Do you really want to play with me right now? I'm just playing. Actually, I'm not playing. I'm being for real, but I'm just playing like I'm not being an asshole. I'm just saying, don't play that game. Anyway, I'm looking for a sell here on USD CHF if price could get up here into this resistance zone. I'll set this alert a little bit lower right there, but I'll just make sure that the zone's thick enough to where if price gets past there, the invalidation would be like something like that, like way up there, really hard to hit. As far as supports, I don't really see anything. It could be that low right there. Could be this low, could be any of these, could be that extreme low. The safest one would be that extreme low. It is going to be a while before price gets here, most likely, though. Euro USD. I don't really think price is going to bounce here anymore, honestly. It's too rangy. I'm just going to delete everything off this, and I'm going to come back and look tomorrow. This just looks really rangy to me. New Zealand CAD. This thing took forever. We got a nice buy right here at the zone. I can't remember where we bought at. I think it was right here. Yeah, this was the end of February. Yeah, so we bought right here at this zone. It was such an easy trade. We bought here. It rocketed into profit. And when it made that higher high, we liquidated. We, meaning I liquidated this trade, and I called this live in MFX Close Friends. And this was a nice trade that we all profited on. It was very nice. What did we do? We just bought at a daily support level. That's all we did. Price came to the daily support level. We entered a buy. It bounced, and we closed. That's literally it. All I traded is support resistance. GBP USD. This thing's kind of doing what EU's doing, kind of rangy. Too much ranger danger. I'm going to leave that alone. New Zealand dollar JPY. Rangy as hell. That's why it's here at the bottom. Euro JPY. Here's what I'll be looking for. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. We're making higher lows, so that's cool. I think we could bounce here temporarily. Like here's resistance. Essentially, I think we could bounce here. So I'll be waiting on that. I've got the alert there. If it gets there, I'll enter. And if it invalidates, let's see if we've got any more zones we can play with. Yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty extreme. What's this right here? We've got some lows and highs. It's kind of far, though, because, like, let's just count the pips right here. Yeah, like 800 pips. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go ahead and just mark this previous high up right there. And in fact, let's just go ahead and wait for that, because that'll be in price. We'll have made a higher high, and then there'll probably be a lot of people. Like a lot of people like flipping out. Like if price cracks that high and gets this looks pretty decent. I mean, it's literally, look how crazy this was. This was what, December 2014. Wonder what the hell happened then. It's a huge like spike down for this pair, which is crazy. 2,000 pips. Wild. Euro, New Zealand dollar, same exact story, waiting on price to get to the resistance zone, at which point I will personally look to sell. For those of you that were freaking out about the USD coin, I understand you, but like, I don't know. If you just looked at the situation, if you just spent like 5 minutes just reading about it, all it does was like SVB didn't have enough. They essentially did. They got bank run like by all their people that were all their depositors were just trying to withdraw. They didn't have the money, so the FDIC was like, hey, you don't have enough assets backing all your outstanding loans and debt and everything. And so the regulators, the FDIC was like, hey, we're going to have to take over operations and like start liquidating things so that way people can get their deposits back because you're required to give them their deposits. And SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, was like, oh shit, okay. So it caused people to freak out because Coinbase and Circle had like, they had like, I think it was like over $3 billion worth of their assets tied up here at SVB at this bank. So people like kind of flipped out, even though it's like a $43 billion market cap. So $3 billion. That's a chunk of it, but not like crazy. It's like almost a little under 10%. People like flipped out. This thing dropped almost 20% and like over the course of a day. So when I woke up in the morning, I was like over here. It was like 90 cents when I woke up in the morning. So I woke up in the morning, it was like 90 cents. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I mean, it's now recovered. It recovered like by the end of the day yesterday. And it's just been kind of floating sideways now here back at the peg of $1. So kind of weird, definitely not fun. It's not something we want to see on a regular basis, but like what are you going to do, right? It's crypto. Prices go up or prices go down. It is what it is. Bitcoin kind of surprised us all. This move, I didn't expect this. This was kind of crazy. Algo and Bitcoin. Algorand came to the support zone. I'm waiting to kind of like potentially get into an Algorand trade on an FX broker. If price can come down here and hit this zone, start to bounce. As far as Bitcoin's concerned, I'm not going to be buying right now. I'm still thinking price could come lower, and I would love to like buy in here, like nice and deep down in here, like deep in the heart of Texas. That's the name of a song for you guys like wondering what that is. I'm waiting for price to come right down here deep into this zone / deep into the heart of Texas, so that way I can buy. And then if I buy, I would kind of hope that price goes up. And if that doesn't work, I would look to buy here again at this next support level, at which point I will set an alert. That is such an amazing price, $16,000 for a Bitcoin. And then it pumped all the way up to like 25K. That's nuts. So that's like what, 60%? 55%? That's wild. All right, guys, that sums up the weekly analysis. As far as stocks go, I'll keep you guys updated throughout the week. I'm so close to buying Tesla. Tesla almost came to the price I wanted to enter last week. So close. I'm waiting on a good price, essentially. I'm waiting for price to come all the way down into here. There's no other really good trades that I see for the time being. Old Dominion Freight Lines looks okay. Waiting on kind of a pullback here and then a bounce. Nvidia, it's okay. Meta, nothing. Amazon, nothing. Just waiting on these pairs. Really, the only thing that looks good right now is Tesla. I think Tesla's worth a shot. If it breaks this zone, the next move we could have is all the way down here. That'll be another 40% move. I am not going to be hanging around for that. If price breaks this zone and I am long, I'm probably just going to liquidate a pretty good chunk of my position and just wait for the next train. That sums up the analysis. I hope you've enjoyed. Let's have an amazing week. Cheers.